Food. All right, we got guest requests, starting with Chelsea.
There's you.
Hi.
Hello.
Um, I just kind of wanted to go back to like the initial question, but like I was watching your live from like a long time before, and you said you believed in spontaneous generation.
No,
Like
that's
the
biogenesis. I don't believe that was disproved back in I think the early 1900s.
okay, so
Abiogenesis is not spontaneous. It's changing allele frequencies over time.
okay, but that still like goes back to like how life was like first created in itself.
Well, yes, but the difference between biogenesis was spontaneous. Anybody in the evolutionary field, biogenesis is not a respected idea anymore. It's kaput, it's pushed out. So
Yeah.
we know that life isn't spontaneous. Abiogenesis accounts for the amount of time that is included. So it's not spontaneous. It was a long stepping process over a huge period of time.
Okay, but I still think there's a flaw in that because like I understand that it was like over time and things evolved, but like the fact that like it evolved to like our level of consciousness. And I was talking to my dad about this a while. My dad actually used to be Muslim, but he converted to Christianity. But I was talking about this with him a while ago, and he knew this guy who used to be atheist, but just by studying the human eyeball, there's 2 million moving parts just like
Yeah,
in that. And so with
yeah.
that, he there has to be a creator. Even I'm a Christian, but like that's not even like talking about the God that I believe
Well,
in. There to be a
the
creator.
downfall to the idea that the eye is complex is a little bit misleading. The eyeball is upside down and backwards. And the only reason you see things correctly is because your brain accounts for that. So
Yeah.
we actually understand the evolution of the eyeball. We have a pretty good grasp on how the eyeball evolved.
Well, I believe in microevolution, so like I don't think it's like fair to say that all Christian like it's obviously like you said like it's up for
Well,
interpretation, but
only Christians differentiate between micro and macro. Evolutionary biologists understand that micro leads to macro. Small changes over time lead to large changes.
yeah, but I like what I believe is like I believe in what like Darwin said I believe in natural select. I just don't believe that like a tadpole turned into like a whale and that like some kind of crocodile human thing. Like
No, I mean, you're conflating different species and family
well
genealogies.
is
So, like with humans, we didn't evolve from monkeys. We had a common ancestor. This ancestor, I think, is called Homo erectus, led to monkeys. They evolved a completely different way than we did, and we evolved this way. We're tangentially related, like 98% genetic match, DNA match to monkeys. They're literally our closest cousins. But you can look at the DNA of a tree, and it is a massive match to human DNA. I mean, all life on Earth evolves. And this is settled science. There's way too much confusion in this, and it's always related to somebody's religious beliefs. Um, Keep in mind that we're, the study of evolution isn't strictly by evolutionary biologists. It's not just one field of study. You're talking about hundreds of different fields of study that did their studies independently of each other. They followed the evidence, they did the experiments, they made the observations, and it led them to evolution. The most recent discovery that confirms evolution was the Human Genome Project, led by a Dr. Francis Collins, who, mind you, is a Christian. And when he got done with the project, he stated publicly that based on the work he had done, evolution was absolutely a fact. By mapping the human genome, we understand that evolution is a fact. His version of it, though, is that God set forth the process of evolution. But evolution, nonetheless, is still very much a fact. We have more evidence for the process of evolution, for the theory of evolution, than we do for the theory of gravity.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, scientists are just using like fossils and things that we find, but like that could have been a mutation in our DNA and the way that things are like
We've observed,
certain.
we've observed evolution in nature and in a lab.
Yeah, micro.
No, macro.
No, no one has been alive enough to see it through. It's a
Yes,
scientific
we have.
theory, but
You should Google evolution of birds on the Galapagos Islands.
yeah, that was Darwin. He studied the
No, it's not Darwin. It's more recent than that. And honestly, evolutionary biologists don't like Darwin. He built the basic frame. He discovered the basic frame of evolution, but that's the best he did. We hate Darwin's guts. We don't use Darwin's theory of evolution anymore. It's a totally different theory than what Darwin has hypothesized. And he was a eugenicist, racist piece of shit. Nobody likes Darwin. He built the frame, or he discovered the framework for evolution, but what we understand today isn't Darwinian evolution.
well, yeah, but every science.
Sorry, your signal cut out. You went black. I can't see or hear you. Your
Still?
audio is still messed up.
No. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Well, what I was saying was like, no scientist ever like fully discovered anything. Like everything was a building block. So like, I don't know. It's just like, you can't really prove that macroevolution, like
Okay,
it's not like
what do you understand about evolution? Have you studied evolution? Have you talked to an evolutionary
I have.
biologist about evolution?
I actually studied that. I'm a sophomore. I studied that last year in AP Bio.
Okay, so a settled science that you studied that for the past 160 years, thousands of scientists have worked on, and it's considered a fact, settled science. You disagree with it, why?
Personally, it stems from like the fact, I think like just life in general is like a hard thing to grasp, but personally, I just everything stems from my faith, so I believe that God
Again,
created
okay, so
all.
therein lies the issue. Therein lies the issue. You are choosing to ignore the science that's been done by thousands of scientists over the course of 160 years in favor of your faith, which you can't provide any evidence for at all. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, there's still thousands of scientists who studied are Christian. So like you can't really
So
like
they have the wherewithal. They have the wherewithal to keep their religious beliefs separate from the science and the evidence that they discover.
yeah, I agree with that. I don't think religion and science should be apart. There's some who are Christian.
But that's kind of what you're doing, right? Like you're conflating what we understand to be scientific fact with your faith.
I, I
Losing your audio again,
like
you're in and out.
I don't. I'm not like ignoring scientific evidence. Like I believe in the things that I studied in biology. Personally, well, no, not even personally. Macroevolution is something that is still heavily debated today.
No,
So
it's
like
not.
I don't think.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's settled science. Evolution is a fact.
Yeah, evolution is not macro. Microevolution is like
No.
known for settled.
Evolutionary biologists do not make a differentiation between micro and macro. Evolution is just evolution. The only people that make that differentiation are Christians.
Okay,
They're the only group of people who make a differentiation between micro and macro. Evolutionary biologists only use those in terminologies to discuss how evolution works. Microevolution leads to macroevolution over time. That's how evolutionary biologists use those words. The only people who are under like a misapprehension about it are people of faith.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say that my faith is like corrupting me
No, your
because
faith isn't
nothing.
corrupting you, but it is corrupting your understanding of science.
Well, just because I like my religion is like well I think I don't know. My religion is what I base like everything off of, but like if you look at religion in itself or just like Christianity, like everything is based off of like good things. Like there's Bible
No, it's
scriptures that
not.
say
No,
no,
no, no, no, no,
people,
no,
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 people
no.
manipulate scripture. People manipulate scripture and they interpret it wrong, but God
God condones slavery in the
itself,
Bible.
like I wouldn't
I
say
can't
it
hear you.
done. It was stating a historical. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. God didn't condone it. He actually set the people free of slavery. It was like stating a situation historically that the people were in, but he didn't say that slavery is right. Not once in the Bible does it say that slavery was like a good thing.
Hold that thought.
And I think that's okay.
These are the laws this is God talking to Moses. These are the laws you are to set before them. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he is to serve you for 6 years. But in the 7th year, he shall go free without paying anything. If he comes alone, he is to go free alone. But if he has a wife when he comes, she is to go with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the woman and her children shall belong to her master, and only the man shall go free. That is God's law on how to own people as property. And it's stated more than once in the Bible. It's stated in Exodus, Leviticus, Ephesians, Paul, dozens of places in the Bible condone the owning of other people as property.
Okay, well, there I think it's important to understand that the Old Testament, that the Old Testament
I said it in
was
the New Testament too, Ephesians and Paul.
That still doesn't disprove that there is a God that exists.
I don't know. I still don't think that disproves evidence that
I didn't
God
say it
is.
disproves God's existence. I said
The topic, right?
this is not a moral presupposition. This is not a positive thing coming from the Bible. This is a negative thing coming from the Bible. And this to say nothing of the other stories in the Bible, like when God orders the Israelites to murder the Midianites, and he tells them, kill for you the men and women who have known a man and the young boys, but keep for yourself the females who have not known a man.
God does not exist.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that's still like.
Or
I
in
don't know.
Deuteronomy, where God gives the law that if a man is to rape a woman, he shall pay her father 50 pieces of silver, marry her, and never divorce her.
I don't feel like. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I don't think like I personally don't think that like marriage is. I mean, divorce isn't a good thing. Like I
Yes,
don't.
it is. Divorce is a very good thing. It is an amazing thing that has reduced the amounts of domestic abuse in the United States.
Yeah, but if you look at it from like the reason why people divorce, it's coming out of things that like not do. So
No, there's people divorce for a lot of reasons. Some of them, in fact, a lot of them are because the relationship turned sour and became abusive.
because of bad that does not like abuse is obviously not a biblical thing. Like I don't I don't
Marriage
know.
isn't a biblical thing either.
It very much is. So whenever you get
No, it's
married,
not. People were getting married before the Bible was written, and
oh,
honestly, the way the Bible describes marriage, it could be any one number of things, including a man having 300 concubines.
But there, I think it's important to like understand the time that they were in.
Well,
Like,
God has the wherewithal to tell you not to murder people. He should have the wherewithal to tell you not to, own people as property. Don't rape people. Don't fuck kids. Like, God kind of dropped the ball on a lot of shit. If the Bible is supposed to be the metric by which we are supposed to behave, he fucked up.
hey, oh, wait, my dad was watching my live. He wants to talk to you. Do you mind? I'm doing a bad job.
Okay.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? Can you see me?
It's going. How you doing, my friend?
Good. I'm just enjoying. I'm enjoying my daughter's curiosity and her attempt to debate you.
It is. Well, I mean, we all got to learn somehow, right?
Right. That's right. I think what Chelsea's trying to convey is the bigger question is, did God really exist or not? The existence of God, I think, is the ultimate peak of all these discussions, right? Because we can disagree on religions and all of the details within the religions that make up the religions and their histories. But I think the pinnacle of all these discussions is, does God really exist or does he not? Regardless of the attributes that make up God, whether we think those attributes are good, those attributes are bad, the pinnacle discussion is, does he exist or doesn't he exist? And
Well,
not,
my
not,
position on that question is one of neutrality. If tomorrow there was absolute evidence of a God, I would believe that God exists. But as it currently stands, there is no evidence of a God. I'm not convinced. It's not my position to say that there
but
is
there's
no
no
God.
evidence. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no evidence on your side either, right?
Oh, wait, no, hold on. I never said there was no God. I said I'm not convinced that
At
there's
the
a
end of
God.
the day, that's the pinnacle of our
Okay,
entire discussion.
okay.
Chelsea, I'll let you come. I'm just on a little roll.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on a little roll. So, the pinnacle of everything is that question. So I ask all of the details of everything and get right to the point. There's no evidence on either side of
Right.
of
So
our
then we
topic.
should all remain, there's no evidence on either side. We should all remain neutral. We shouldn't make
And,
any
and
assumptions or presuppositions about it.
But there's proof that the prophet in Muslim, he was known true.
I
So
can
the
barely
fact,
hear you.
okay, just that like Jesus was known to be true in multiple
No, Jesus
documents.
was not known to be true. Sorry.
Not
All of the
not
scriptural writings of Jesus come from a second and third hand account. There were no eyewitness accounts of Jesus, and we don't know who authored the stories. We don't know who authored the gospels.
he's in the
hold
Quran
on.
and he's in the Bible, and there's just multiple.
The Quran is a loose translation of the Bible. And the Quran doesn't see Jesus as the Son of God. The Quran
But
sees Jesus as the prophet.
I'm not saying that like Jesus, like I'm not even saying that Jesus is who he says he is. I'm saying there's proof that Jesus existed, and the fact that everything lines
There
up
isn't.
with. What do you mean?
There's no
multiple.
proof that Jesus existed.
I mean,
There's no evidence of the
I think
biblical
that's
Jesus.
historically debatable. I think that's very historically debatable because
I
there's
mean, yes,
multiple
it is still up for debate.
manuscripts.
It is very much up for debate.
Yeah,
Bart Ehrman,
that you can't say
Bart
that he
Ehrman,
did.
who is an atheist, he is also a biblical scholar. He thinks that there is evidence for a biblical Jesus, but at best, he was some crazy Hasidic Jew running around. Hold
But
on,
hey, just the fact that he exists is, and you agreed that he could
hold
exist, that's
on,
a big deal. You know?
hold on.
Yeah.
It's up for debate, as you said, and that's fine. I don't see stories from the Bible as evidence of anything, especially considering we can disprove large portions of the Bible, which makes it unreliable.
But here you see you're going back down in the level of argument now into Christianity and that those are
Okay, fine.
those
Back it back up
steps
to whether or
down.
not there's
You
a
know?
God. I have no
The God
evidence
because
for the
you know that.
existence. I have no evidence for the existence of God. So my position is going to be neutral.
Okay. Well, that means you're not right. That means I mean that's you're not you don't know you're right or not.
So I can admit that I
So
don't know something.
hey, that's fine. I mean, you know, so we're both in the same boat there. What I'm saying is let people try to experiment that, because the fact that neither one of us can say we're absolutely right, then it's the people have a responsibility to investigate both
I
sides
agree.
and see what their personal experience and connection is. Because here's the thing is, I feel like I have a personal connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people, I think billions of people in the world believe that they have some sort of connection. You know, at the end of the day, you know, we can go back to science and see that, you know, we're all just connected subparticles in some sort of membrane, and everything is connected. So, I mean,
Look, I mean,
you know,
I don't, it's not my intention with these lives to strip people of their faith. The
uh-huh.
purpose for this conversation is for me to impart upon the people who have a religion to please keep it to themselves. Keep it out of politics.
Why should we? Well, then you should keep it to yourselves, and there's
Let me
no
finish.
dialogue, and there's
Let
no
me finish.
dialogue.
Let me finish.
Mhm.
Keep it out of politics, keep it out of law, and keep it out of public school. Your religion is your personal journey, and it has nothing to do with anybody else, and you do not have a right to force it onto other people.
I agree with that.
Okay, then we're on the same page.
I agree with that. No one should impose anything on another human being, because that's not, God doesn't do that with us. He doesn't impose anything on us. He's given us free will. Is one of the greatest,
It's a myth.
most amazing things that's ever been created. And I think
Free
maybe
will
the
is a
purpose
myth.
of this whole world, the purpose of this whole entire world, is how to allocate that free will, and how
Free
that
will is a
free will
myth.
is used. Huh?
Free will is a myth. It doesn't exist.
What do you mean it doesn't exist? It's right. It depends on how connected you are to yourself. If you're a slave, then it might not exist for you. But if
No,
you're
it doesn't exist.
self-aware, if you're self-aware to a certain extent, then
No,
it absolutely
sorry, that's
doesn't.
not how the human brain works. That's an obfuscation of
You
what we
don't, you're
understand.
saying you don't have choices. You don't make any choices.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm
Well, that's
saying
free
is,
will.
no, it's not. Listen,
Yeah.
our brains are predeterministic. You have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. Your personality, you didn't have a choice in it. Nothing about who you are as a person was ever designed by any choice you ever personally made.
Mm-hmm.
Your personality is made up of three components: your genetics, which build your predisposition, the 4 to 14 window, where you absorb the most about the information in your environment. That's like during that age, 4 to 14, your brain is a sponge, and it absorbs more information in that time frame than you will ever absorb in the rest of your life. And any trauma that you suffer in life, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, whatever it may be, that trauma can alter your personality. Now, that's predeterminism. Your mood, your decision-making process, what you're going to have for breakfast, how you're going to handle a given situation based on the mood you're in. All of these things are dictated by your environment and how your brain is wired to respond to them.
Yeah.
Free will
Yeah.
doesn't address any of that at all.
Look, we're an amazing design.
No, we're not a design.
We're an amazing design that's capable of
No,
all
we're not
those
a
things.
no, we're not a
Because
design, and we're not amazing. We're not a
we are
design.
amazing design
We
that
are
has
not a
free will.
design. We are not a
And we
design, and
choose
we
our
are not
path,
amazing.
and we
We're
make our
not designed.
choices, but we have, look, I mean, again, we
We're
don't
not
know that,
designed.
do we?
No, we do know.
How do you don't
Evolution
know
is a
that?
fact. Yes, we do. Evolution is a fact.
You don't know that that's not built in. What if that's built into the design? What if
Well, then
evolution
the
is
designer
part
is
of an amazing
then
design?
the designer is incompetent, because your eyeballs are upside down and backwards. Left side of your brain operates the right side of your body. The right side of your brain operates the left side of your body. You have appendices that can explode and kill you. You have wisdom teeth that can get infected and kill you. I personally am on dialysis.
It wasn't designed. It wasn't designed
Hold on.
for
Let me
perfection.
finish. Let me finish.
Mhm.
I am on dialysis because my immune
I'm sorry.
system, the thing that was supposedly designed to protect me from disease, became the disease that attacked my kidneys. Everything about life on Earth is what you would expect to see from natural
It's not.
processes that were unguided. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Life
Sorry.
on Earth is what you would expect to see if it evolved from natural processes. Nothing about us remotely appears designed.
What is it about this design? What would make this design? Why was it supposed to be perfect? Who said it was designed to be
I didn't say
perfect?
it needed to be perfect,
We live
but
in
it
a.
would, in
Hold on.
order
I
for
let
it
you
to
talk.
be,
I let you talk. I let you talk. We are in
I'm
a
responding.
We're broken, huh? Go ahead.
Nothing about this is designed. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for intelligence behind the design, and nothing about us is intelligently
What?
designed.
What?
This
What?
is
This is. We are
incompetent.
not. Look at yourself, and you're telling me, has anything ever been made similar to you? Can you point to something someone has made that is incredible as you are, even a
That's not
fraction
an
of
argument for
one
design,
point?
man. That's not an argument
What
for
do you mean?
design.
What? Show me a
Okay,
better.
wait,
Show me.
I have one. Okay, so you can just like look at what the Earth's axis is tilted at, what, like 23.5 degrees or something. So like if it was tilted any more this way or any more that way, we would burn or freeze to death. So like even just looking, and then where we are in rotation, like orbiting the sun, like I don't understand how you can't look at that and think that there's a God.
So there's a hole in a road, and every time it rains, water pools inside of that hole, and that water that looks around at its environment inside the hole and says, you know what? This was perfectly designed just for me. When in reality, which is nonsense, in reality, the water formed into the hole, which is what we did. We evolved to survive in this area, in this environment. And had the earth been tilted a little bit this degree or that degree, life could have still been evolved on earth. It just wouldn't be the same life we have today.
But then you can't even, like, I don't understand how you can't just like look at everything that we have on earth, all of the beauty, all of the creation. Like I think even just like looking at everything around you and like studying just the way that everything works and how meticulously like you can tell it's designed because of how
No, it's not
amazing.
designed. It's
Well, that's
processed by evolution.
well, okay, but that
More than, hold on, not more than 90% of your DNA is garbage DNA that does absolutely nothing. It's a very tiny amount of your DNA that decides your hair color, eye color, skin color, all of that shit.
but it still makes us up. Like looking all of the certain just like
It's fine.
things that
Look, you can have this belief if you want it, but that doesn't make it true. Science has been working on this evolution for over 160 years. It is a fact. And it's not even really up for debate at this point. Again, we have more evidence for the process of evolution than we do for the theory of gravity. Evolution is settled
well,
science. It's done.
I'm not saying evolution isn't true. I'm saying the level, like it's up for debate how much evolution has occurred in the past
No,
years that
it's not. It's settled science,
yes,
right down to your genetic, right
evolution
down to the
is, but
human
not
genome. We mapped the human genome, and the scientists that worked on it even came out and said evolution is a fact.
yeah, I agree with that. But
We evolved.
Yeah, we did. We from some, like I agree with evolution and the idea of it. I just don't agree with the level of, because it's
Well, I
not
mean, it
proved.
doesn't
You can't
matter
even
if you agree with it or not. It's still a fact.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
It's not.
is.
It's a fact that evolution does exist, but not from like the very like I don't know, like you can't prove that evolution stemmed from the exact. If that was true, then everyone would believe the same thing because it would be a known fact.
Negative. People are emotionally manipulated into believing untrue things all the time.
Well, yeah, but that's
Which is
I don't
what
know. That's
religion
like
is. Religion is emotional manipulation and indoctrination. That, remember I said earlier, that 4 to 14 window? That phrase was coined by an evangelical minister in the United States as the window to get children stuck in the church. It is emotional manipulation through fear. It is indoctrination. And honestly, it is child abuse. And that's why most people are Christian today.
Well, you could argue that Christianity, Christianity, what started from
Judaism.
some kind of group. No. I'm talking about like the person, the reason why Christianity is so like dominant over every other religion. It was some kind of like Roman, Emperor Constantine. Well, like
made it law, and if you
didn't
convert, he murdered you.
Yeah, I know. I studied it, but yeah, you can take it.
Me again. I appreciate the conversation.
So do I, man.
I love your point of view. I mean, you're definitely a smart dude.
Well, here's my thing. I think, as I said earlier, that it's fine for people to have their faith, and it's not up for me to try to strip that away from people. It would be rude of me to even try it. So I'm usually cautious about having this type of debate. I don't really, my debate, I want my part in the debate to end at politics and education. That said, when people challenge me on why I don't believe that in Christianity, I have a very long list of reasons, of which in the history of our species, Christianity has never been a net benefit, ever. All it has ever done is cause bloodshed, war, ignorance, disease, and suffering. That's literally the history of the fucking religion.
It's done a lot of good things for the poor. It's done a lot of good things.
It creates the poor. Come on. How many billions of dollars are dumped into these churches every year? They could solve world hunger, and they don't do it.
I mean, they waste a lot of money. They waste a lot.
They're not doing any good. I don't care.
I mean,
a soup kitchen
just like anybody else who
soup
gets
kitchen
a lot
isn't
of free
solving
money.
homelessness, man.
You know, I know. I mean, some of them do good with it. Some of them do marginally good with it. Some of them do no good with it. You know, I mean, just like anything else, right?
Well, a lot of them use their classification as a religion to be a criminal organization, like the Mormon Church, the Catholic Church, Jehovah's Witnesses, a number of Baptist churches. Hatred.
That's my point. But here's my thing: is because so many of them, as you put it, are bad. You can't tie that to God. There's not a connection.
I can tie it to the religion.
You can't tie it. You could tie it to the religion, to some of the religion, not all the religion. You could tie it to some of the religion, not all of the religion, and you can't tie it to God at all, because those are two completely separate things. Don't stain God over that, huh?
As Christians, do you think that hell exists?
Yes.
Yeah, as a matter of what's in
that's an unfortunate byproduct that's an unfortunate byproduct of a bad theological education, because early first century Christians didn't believe in hell at all.
I think we don't know what hell is. I think nobody really knows what hell really is, right?
Hell didn't become a part of Christian doctrine until like the 5th century. When Dante's Inferno was written, that's when they started talking about it. That's when it became a part of the culture. I lost you. Where are you at? Oh, there you are. Okay. In early Christianity, Christianity was an nihilistic religion. So what that means is, when you die, you would go to Sheol, which is described in the Bible. Sheol is more or less a cosmic waiting room for souls until the end times, the judgment. Upon the judgment, you would be judged. If you were found to be clean and without sin, you would go to God in heaven. If you were found to be unclean and with sin, your soul was destroyed. You ceased to exist. That was the original Christian religion. Over a the last 2,000 years or 2,500 years, that shit has been perverted and reinterpreted and re-edited and fucked with by so many different people. It's a bad game of telephone. And so now modern Christians think that all sin is equal in the eyes of God. So you could murder somebody, go to hell, and you can be gay and go to hell.
You know, I think there's a lot of debate in Christianity on what, you know, what line people are, you know, what line people are in. I think there's a lot of debate in it, and you don't have to agree with, you know, there's a lot of different ways people interpret the Bible in terms of what it, what level of divinity it has.
Right.
So,
And
you
that's
know,
the problem with the
so
religion
that's the
itself.
thing
That's
is
why
like, you
it's
know, hey, you
unreliable.
can take it as an inspired piece, right? There's a lot of people who think that the Bible is inspired, right? It's not written by God, and they don't claim that it's written by God either. They say, look, that has authors, Matthew, Mark, human beings, all of them human beings. So I think that, you know, there's a segment within Christianity that says, look, these are inspired books, and for the times they were written in, we can learn a lot from them. You know, there are people that had a relationship with God, but we shouldn't take these texts and literally, you know, say, okay, today you have to operate this way. And if Christians, if a lot of Christians are honest with themselves, they put themselves in that category. But I think we've been all kind of conditioned in a way to take this book, and it probably comes back from hundreds of years, centuries ago, that you have to accept the divinity of this book at a level of, it's just word for word. You know, God wrote it
I'm
with
gonna
his
go.
own hand. You know, but I think a
I'm
lot
gonna
of
go back.
Christians, if they're honest with themselves, they don't, you know, they're just
I'm gonna
absorbing that culture that they've, you know, that's been around for centuries.
I'm gonna go back on this a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
The Christian religion in no way has been a net benefit for mankind. What little bit of welfare they may be involved in doesn't make up for the loss of life they have caused, doesn't make up for the suffering they have caused through the ignorance of their teachings. For instance, and this is just a for instance, right now here in the US, we are having a massive debate over abortion rights.
Mm-hmm.
Christians do not consider consequence to belief. It's their belief, end of story, no more discussion. I can tell you this right now. There will be 5 immediate consequences to banning abortions in the United States. You will have a higher suicide rate of women who are trapped in a situation they can't get out of. You will have a higher rate of infant mortality.
Mm-hmm.
You have a higher rate of women dying in childbirth and pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a higher rate of poverty. In 2018, roughly 600,000 abortions were performed. Add another 600,000 hungry, impoverished children to an already broken system that can't handle the ones we have. And you will have a higher rate of domestic abuse. Those are just 5 immediate, obvious consequences of banning abortion. That's not including what else will come down the pipeline from that.
Yeah, can I respond? So I think here's the problem that a lot of people that believe in God, right, like that are with, I think any in particular the Abrahamic religions, which I have a little more experience in. The Abrahamic religions have a problem with abortion. The ones that are, you know, again, passionate about their religion, and that the relationship that this creature has, this being has to God. You know, all those Abrahamic religions describe us as being made in the image of God, and you know, out of all of these different trillions of species that exist on this planet that we're aware of, we're at the highest, we're the top of those created entities. So I think the problem they have is that the sanctity of that, the importance of that, is so high. I think they don't know how to fight it correctly.
Well, and it's kind of a,
I don't think they know how to
it's
communicate it. I don't think they know how to communicate it correctly, and they fight it in a really bad tactical way
It's a
instead of,
contradiction to their belief anyway.
huh?
It's a contradiction to the Christian belief anyway. Being anti-abortion is a contradiction to the Christian faith. Because if Christians were truly faithful, then they would recognize that children are innocent. And so if a fetus is aborted, then that soul would just go straight to heaven because it's an innocent soul.
Well,
But it's just
well, I
weird.
think that the fact is that it was placed there, right, by divine power, and the divine power that placed that there allowed that as part of his creative technique, right? I'm not saying he physically comes down and whatever. It's a creative mechanism in his creation, and that's been placed there. And we shouldn't take it on our hands to abort that. That's a really high crime, let's say.
It doesn't. It's going to hurt people.
I'm not saying they're fighting it correct. I'm just saying that they're not fighting it correctly. You shouldn't do that because everyone knows that these back alley abortions happen and people go to other states, and then, I mean, it has all sorts of other.
And that's not the only problem with this. Abortion is just one example. There's a Christian organization in Texas that's fighting tooth and nail to get science textbooks removed from public school.
Well,
There are Christian organizations that fight against comprehensive sex education in public school.
Look. All I'm saying is agree. All I'm saying is agree with me. Don't paint all of Christians with one brush, and they're all different. There's good, bad, medium. There's good, bad, medium. And again, don't tie even the good, bad, and the medium to God. Don't tie them. Don't put that connection together.
Hold on. I don't believe in a God, so I'm not trying to give a God attributes. Okay? I'm talking specifically to the religion itself and its behavior as a whole. I have to, in this conversation, make a generalization. I don't have a choice. I can't speak to, 3 billion Christians. I can't speak to each individual Christian. I have to do a generalization based on the community behavior.
We don't know what those ratios are.
Right.
We don't know what those ratios are.
I have to make a generalization. I have to make a broad generalization when discussing that community of people. Sir, some Christians are amazing fucking people. I've had some really great conversations with Christians on this platform, but I have to make sweeping generalizations when I'm having this discussion, especially from the perspective of an American right now,
but isn't that
the loudest people in the room are the craziest sons of bitches. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a representative of Christianity in the United States.
Yeah, that's the
Ted
problem.
Cruz
You're right.
is a representative of the Christian faith in the United States.
And that's sad. It's sad.
Well, good Christians aren't standing up to try to defeat this shit. They're just kind of falling in line with it because a lot of Christians are conservative.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
It's a problem, which is why my position is to keep religion separate from politics and education. They've got to remain separate.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Separation of church and state should exist. I mean, look at what happens when it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Who can guarantee, a good people to be there every time, right?
Yeah. And I'm also of the school that you don't necessarily need a religion to be a good person. I think I'm doing a pretty good job without a God.
I agree. You do not. You're absolutely right. There's some human beings that put, non-believers that in the Christian terminology, that put believers to shame. In the Christian terminology.
Cases, my friend, in some cases. But you guys have been a lot of fun to talk to. I appreciate both of you.
Man. Thank you.
I would like to give your daughter some resources in regards to evolution if she's open to hearing more about it.
I had no idea you existed. I come back and she tells me, she's like, Dad, I hope he picks me. I've been waiting for like 2 hours to go live. And so she was so excited.
I don't know. I like talking. Like, I think it's a really good thing to talk about, because like religion is what you base everything on, like your beliefs, what you stem, like your whole person. Like, it's what I base everything off of. So I think it's important to have these conversations.
Well, keep. I want you to keep perspective. It's fine that you have your faith, and that's great. But recognize that science has had a larger impact on your life than I think you give it credit for. Your food, communications, clothing, everything about your life is directly impacted by discoveries made in science.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I'm like a sophomore. So like
I want to give you a couple of resources to maybe help you understand evolution a little bit better. Here on TikTok, there's a channel called the Renegade Science Teacher. Look him up, watch some of his videos, maybe jump into one of his lives. He does also have a YouTube channel. And then there's another YouTube channel, Aron Ra, ARONRA. These two are very good science communicators. You might learn something you didn't know before.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome, dear. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I want to move on to another guest. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal to talk with.
Thanks, you too.
Well, good night.
Well, this is actually a very productive evening. We have had a couple of fantastic conversations. I'm fucking loving it, man. I'm eating this shit up. This is so enjoyable. Really quick, before we move on to the next guest, up here at the top of the page is my Venmo and my Cash App. I also do have PayPal. If you think that my content is worth a few dollars, I'd appreciate the donation. If not, you can tell me to go fuck myself. It's good either way. The magician.
Rob the magician.
Yo, what's going on?
How's it going, my friend?
Oh man, I'm doing awesome, man. What's your name? Ethan? Sorry, I gotta get over here away from the dogs. They're barking right now.
Puppies are amazing. I love puppies.
Oh, me too, man. They're awesome. I'm really big into animals. I just wanted to come on and kind of talk a little bit. I've been listening to you, and I definitely agree with you tremendously about separating the whole aspect of traditional religion and stuff from like trying to force it down people and things like that, but I've been into the Christian realm myself for a long time. I was really devoted and I used to study the Bible a lot. But I still have a belief that there is a higher power. I do believe you're right. It is our own personal journey, and I think that where a lot of people go wrong on the whole thing is, first of all, they don't practice it for themselves, and they're not really finding purpose of using their belief as a tool to better the world, and it's too much separation. To me, spirituality is about unity and finding a way to come together and to honor other people's beliefs. That's the way I look at it,
I refuse to honor people's or even respect people's.
You refuse to honor other people's beliefs?
Is a belief. Yeah, I just can't do it. Beliefs are going to get judged on merit. How I'm going to address belief is it's going to be judged on merit. Racism is a belief that one race is superior to another. Misogyny is the belief that one gender is superior to another, or one sex is superior to another. So beliefs, respect gets doled out based on their respectability. If people have beliefs that innately cause harm to others, I'm not going to respect those beliefs. And I'm under no obligation to do so.
Oh, I know what you're saying on that. Definitely, if it causes harm to other people, definitely not respect that in any way. But I think that where we mostly argue as people in the world we argue over trying to push our own agenda and ideas and anything, because it doesn't even have to be religion. It could be politics in general. It could be just anything, just people's lifestyles. Everyone's always trying to, if you're not like me, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then you're
and we're
not,
seeing.
you know what I'm saying? Like people.
I think we're seeing more of that today. If you're not with me, you're my enemy. That's what we're seeing in
Yeah,
American culture right now. Um, the political parties are so at odds with each other, but a part of this problem is that one political party has decided to define itself by its religious beliefs, and not even in a good way either. As far as I was
right.
taught Christianity, Jesus was supposed to be this character that was loving. He healed the sick and the blind. He fed the hungry and the poor. Whereas the Republican Party, the Christian conservative party, doesn't give a fuck about helping poor people, doesn't give a fuck about healing the sick. They are nothing that could even be remotely twisted into Christ-like behavior.
Totally. I agree
That's
with
the
you.
problem we're running into right now. Or that's one of
Yeah.
the many problems we're running into at the moment.
Oh, I agree. They definitely have they definitely use God as an excuse to do some dumb things or to not do things.
Yeah, they
I
use their
think
religion as a weapon. And I think that
yeah,
humanism, secular humanism, is a better worldview than a religious worldview is.
got you. I
Because I
got you.
can't
I
use
definitely respect that.
secular human. There's no possible way for me to use secular humanism as a weapon against other people. There's no way to do it. But you can absolutely twist a religious belief into that direction as a weapon against other people.
There's definitely dangers in that for sure when you indoctrinate people into ideas. If
Well, and that's the big part of
God's going to
religion.
punish you.
I think most people are traditionally Christian these days because they were indoctrinated with it. Emotional
Oh yeah,
abuse
indeed.
in people's childhood, believe in God or you're going to hell. They use fear as a tactic. And I
I
mean,
agree.
that's honestly so dishonest.
Yeah, that was one of the things I got tired of too when I used to go to church all the time, is that nobody was really authentic. They weren't being their authentic self because they were trying to be something that they weren't, because I guess the fear of going to hell. And it's like I would read the Bible and then I would see that most people weren't living it like it was like I would see, I'd be like, and they weren't excited about it
I
either.
mean,
And I was just like,
I was
this is
aware of that
bullcrap.
when I was like
And
8 years old. I was aware of that when I was 8 years old. Man, I get out of church on Sunday. I grew up Methodist. I get out of church on Sunday, and the old ladies would just be outside of the church bickering at each other about some fucking blouse that some woman was wearing in the fucking third pew.
yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's you know, but what I've grown, because I've grown in my spirituality, and the way I look at it is this: I don't think a lot of people are ready for it, but I think what the problem is tradition in general, and people are looking for God outside of themselves, but I believe God is us. I believe God's within us, and a lot of people aren't ready for that message
I mean,
because that would
there's
mean that
a
they'd have
lot of perspective.
responsibility.
Well, I don't think that God is us. I have no reason to believe that God exists, much less that we are God. I don't have any evidence for that claim either. Um, but I do think religion is an obfuscation of personal responsibility. I agree with you on that point. That religion is quite literally the excuse given to, relieve oneself of their personal responsibility for their own actions.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like all I ever heard from Christians was the devil this, the devil that. They talk more about the devil than they do God. Anything, like
Yeah.
the devil
And,
made me do it.
yeah, there's never been a satanic death cult, but you want to know how many Christian death cults there have been?
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah, quite a few.
It doesn't. No, I believe you, man. I see the corruption in it, and that was kind of what I saw.
Just the very idea of vicarious redemption is already a corrupt idea. Ted Bundy murdered and fucking ate people, and before they put him to death, he got absolution. And if he was sincere of heart, that means he's in heaven right now.
Wow.
Where's the justice in that?
Yeah, that's why, yeah, I definitely changed my view on the whole thing. At least in my personal belief, I believe in reincarnation, and that's a true justice, as in you're gonna, like, say for instance, Hitler killed all those Jewish people, so now he's gonna reincarnate as a Jew to see what it's like to be a Jew in his next life, so he can kind of learn his lesson. But it's not an eternal judgment,
It only works if he ends up a Jew in 1945.
Well, if he has to deal with the people he created in the future, all the Nazis and stuff that he created, and they come and persecute him, that's his thing. He's dealing with his own karma,
Jews still aren't dealing with today the level of bullshit they dealt with back then. Either way, I don't believe in reincarnation either. I mean, I don't have any evidence to support that claim either. And it seems
the evidence I came to, and I want to share with you on my side, is that there are people like children, right? That just come out of the womb knowing how to play the piano like a professional. And that could be evidence that maybe they lived in another lifetime and they learned it and they still have some of that memory in their consciousness.
Or it could just be evidence that their brain is wired to understand something.
Possibly. That could be it.
They just have a natural tendency for it. It's not necessarily evidence of reincarnation.
I mean, it could be, but you got to also think too. I could be right and you could be right at the same time. And here's why I base this. Could it be possible that we're all right, just from different perspectives? Because if you think about it, we live in a realm of duality.
The difference between my position and your position is that I am neutral, and I am withholding any assertions or assumptions until I have evidence to give myself a basis. You are asserting these beliefs without evidence, based on mostly conjecture.
I see what you're saying on that, but I understand where you're coming from. But when I think about the divine, which obviously to me, I think that we limit the idea of divine when we label it with a name, because as it says in the Tao Te Ching, the Tao has no name. If you label me, you negate me, meaning that it's about the experience, right? You said, I listened to you earlier. You were saying that you were a Christian one time and you kind of had an experience of like the Holy Spirit in church or something like that in the past, right? You kind of felt some kind of presence or something like that.
And I believe it was the same as being just happy and elated. I get that same experience when I ride my motorcycle.
Exactly. And that's what I believe too. You can experience God in any way you want. If you're a surfer, you experience God through surfing. I would call it God, but
it's dopamine and oxytocin and chemical compounds in your brain.
Fantastic. I like it. But if you think about it though, we are energy, correct? If you think about it, every energy exists, right?
Energy is defined as things that are in motion. So yeah.
Okay.
We're kind of energy.
So if energy exists,
we're not energy in a colloquial magical sense.
But if energy exists, and science says that energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred from one object to the next, right?
That's in a closed system. Hold on. That's in a closed system. People conveniently like to misquote science all the time. That rule applies to a closed system. We assume that the universe is a closed system because the same amount of energy and matter exists as far as we can tell. There's no more energy or matter coming into that closed system, which that's the universe. On Earth, we are an open system. We receive energy from the sun.
Yeah.
So it depends on what type of system you're talking about. The Earth, I mean, that's a misunderstanding of what science actually says.
Okay, my thing is, what science are you coming from? Because I'm talking quantum physics. So which science are you talking about?
I don't know anything about quantum physics. And the only people who do know anything about quantum physics are quantum physicists.
Okay. Well, I definitely study a lot of quantum physics, because it has a lot to do with different dimensions of reality, and it has a lot to do with energy and things like that. You know, I'm not saying I perfectly know it all perfect, but I know enough to understand
We
that.
have no evidence that different dimensions of reality exist. They are speculation and mathematical equations at best.
Okay, well, how's that not good enough though? A mathematical equation, some
It's
kind of
not.
proof.
No, when the
Okay.
Matrix movie released, some guy, I don't remember his name, did a mathematical equation that showed that there's a 97% chance that we are living in a fucking vat. And this is just a simulation. There was
Uh-huh.
another physicist who did a fucking calculation years ago that there's a 90 some odd percent chance that we have lived this exact same life an infinite number of times. I don't care what mathematicians say. That's not
Yeah.
evidence, it's speculation.
But everything's math if you think about it. I mean,
Yeah,
our
everything's
whole
math.
reality is structured
If,
off of
if
math.
one mathematical equation can say this is a 97% certainty, and another mathematical equation can say that this is a 90 some odd percent certainty, and they contradict each other, there's a problem.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
And
But that would
quantum physics,
explain.
quantum physics is an amazing field of study. I'm never going to say that it isn't. And there's a lot to learn there. But there are people who are taking what quantum scientists are discovering and twisting it to fit their worldview, and largely based on largely based on a spiritual worldview. And it's nonsense. There's no reason to make that leap. No quantum physicist has ever come out and said, oh, spirituality.
I got you. I hear what you're saying. So,
And
I
again,
like talking.
energy is defined as motion. It is not defined as some colloquial magical thing that exists between realms or whatever.
All right. Well, how can we explain some of the information we get through like dreams and our imagination, and how we've used the imagination to create these beautiful inventions we come up, like the TV and okay. But what about people who know things and could see things into the future through the imagination?
They can't.
You have to project into the future to come up with an idea, because to create an idea like the car, you had to see it in your mind first, which is like a futuristic idea.
No, that's not how that works, man. When Henry Ford started trying to put together this idea, it was one building block at a time. He didn't have an end picture in sight. He just had a series of ideas that led to other series of ideas. He said, this works, let's build on it. Okay, that didn't work. We're going to shift it and change it so that, okay, now it works. And he didn't have an end goal in mind. He was just working with what he had to make building cars easier and more more productive. And besides, Henry Ford was a fucking sociopath anyway. Look, nobody looks at a canvas and says, well, that's what I'm going to paint. That's not how it works. Right. They start somewhere and they build on it and they build on it and they add to it. Now, yes, you can look at a canvas and you can look at a person and you can paint a likeness. Great. Most artists that do things like abstract, they don't have an image in their head of what they're trying to achieve. They just keep going until they feel like they're done. And as far as storytelling goes, it's always from the perspective of humanity that we tell stories. It's never from the perspective of another species that might exist somewhere else in the universe. It's based on our experience as humans. The interactions between characters.
Well, there are some people I know in my spiritual community that do believe in aliens and different dimensions and different planets.
That's fine. They can believe in that, but that's not necessarily a fact. Do aliens exist out in the universe? Probably. I think the numbers are on the side, are in favor of life existing elsewhere. Do we have evidence of it? No, we do not. It's speculation. We do not
unless
have
someone else had their own experience.
No, it doesn't matter if they've had their own experience. Experience is not evidence. Personal experience is not evidence. We don't even use eyewitness testimony in court without corroborating evidence, because eyewitness testimony is unreliable. Our memories falter. Our brains are fallible and play tricks on us.
Okay, so if we're going to talk psychology, what if your experience is only a projection of someone who put a belief in you, like your parents or something like
Well,
that?
so
It could have been
I'm
a belief you
actually
were
a
brought
member.
up on.
I
You know?
was raised Christian, and I am no
Uh-huh.
longer obviously a Christian. I'm actually a member of the
Right.
Satanic Temple. We are a
Okay.
non-theistic religion that does not believe in a literal Satan. We don't worship a literal Satan. We're actually a group of atheists that use Satanism as a metaphor to fight against Christian tyranny in the United States. We have
Gotcha.
7 fundamental tenets tied to the religion itself. Number 5, one's beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world, and one should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. My personal beliefs are tied with what can be proven to be true. My
Mm-hmm.
concern, I want to know as many true things about life and reality as possible and as few false things about reality. So I avoid making assumptions. I avoid making assertions.
I
I
like that. That's
avoid,
good.
so like for instance, we know for a fact the Big Bang happened. We don't know what caused the Big Bang. So my answer when people ask me what caused the Big Bang is, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and make assumptions about things I don't know about. I don't have evidence for. That's how my worldview works. And I
Mm-hmm.
recognize things like empathy and compassion work better than separation, tribalism, division, and aggression. So I advocate for those things that work better in society, and I rally against those things that do harm. Because this is coming from a rational consideration of reality and nature.
No, I agree with you. You're right about that. Now, some of the things I have brought to your point because I wanted to see where you're at with your belief and everything. And a lot of that stuff I did kind of go into with science, and I've been more towards like shamanism and going into nature these days. And it makes more sense to me that if I'm going to believe in a higher power, I can find out about my higher power through creation itself. Instead of like looking through the animals, looking through the trees, if
Why?
there is a creator, it's gonna be in the trees, it's gonna be in the animals, it's gonna be
Why?
in the creation itself.
Why are
Well,
you
where else?
looking for a creator?
Because that's what gives us purpose. Where do you find your
No,
purpose?
it's not. No, it's not. A creator doesn't
Then
give
where
you
do you find
purpose.
your
You
purpose?
give you purpose. The purpose
That's why
of
I said
life
the
is to
creator's
give life
us.
purpose. I went bowling earlier today. That's my purpose. Having this conversation is my purpose. Riding my motorcycle, shooting a game of pool, watching anime, enjoying my life is
I like
my
that.
purpose. There's
Good. I
no
agree with you.
intrinsic purpose. There is no intrinsic purpose to life. There's no rule in nature that says this is your purpose. Your purpose is what you make it. Why
What?
do you think you need a God or a creator to have purpose?
Well, for me, honestly, the reason why I look for it is because I want to have the power of my healing gift. I want to be empowered to be able to believe that people can be healed beyond what anyone else could do. Like, for instance, I love the idea of being able to lay hands on sick people and heal them, and being able to heal them with where medical science can't do today. Like maybe if someone had cancer
Faith healers,
and
faith, faith, faith healers do not work in hospitals for the same reason psychics do not win the lottery.
right, I got you.
You keep that shit up and you're going to get somebody killed.
No, it's
I
not
don't
about
know.
getting people
I have
killed.
lost track of how many fucking articles, obituaries
Yeah.
I have read where faith healers got somebody fucking killed. And the most tragic one I ever read was a family of 7 in Georgia, years back, just a few years ago. Mom,
Uh-huh.
dad, 5 kids. Mom, dad are currently in prison right now because they medically neglected 3 of their children directly into the fucking grave.
Yeah, I would never
the
say that.
state
That's
of
stupid.
Georgia didn't step in and take those other 2 children away until the 3rd one died. Faith
Yeah.
healing is bullshit, and it
Well, I
hurts people.
appreciate your I appreciate your whole thing on that. I see what you're saying. There are some people, and especially there's a lot of sham
Our
artists out there.
medical,
Mhm.
our medical system. Everybody who claims to be able to lay hands and heal is a sham artist. Everybody who claims to lay hands and heal is a sham artist. Every single one of them. Nobody has magical fucking powers to heal people. Period. Our medical healthcare isn't perfect. There's a lot of problems with it. And one of the more serious problems with it is that it's always based on an average. But that's to save time and money. And that's because we live in a capitalistic society where healthcare is based on profits. If it wasn't, healthcare would be a better system. But as bad as that system is, it is still the best system we have. Magical
And I agree with you. I'm not saying
quote unquote,
I'm not against it.
Are charlatans and liars.
Well, I have the best intentions because I really want to see people do well, and I don't separate any of it.
So
I put it all together. I put it all together, all of it, because why should we limit ourselves?
So fine, you think you're a faith healer. I invite you to write a scientific fucking article about it. Present your evidence, present your case to the greater medical community.
That's not how it works, because you get into the ego when you try to prove things, and that limits you. You don't try to prove things.
Isn't it fucking convenient that you cannot be a benefit? Isn't it fucking convenient that you cannot be a benefit for the rest of mankind because suddenly now it's about ego?
Well, how can you be a benefit when people don't?
Your method, rather than trying to get your method of healing out into the world where it would do the most good, you want to keep it to yourself because of ego.
No, it's not about keeping it to yourself. How can people receive something they don't believe in? If they're saying it doesn't exist, then how they're not open to it.
Heal shit. Belief doesn't heal shit.
Well, I mean, if you say you don't believe in it, you're never going to be open to try it. You're never going to have an open mind to try it out. So what good does that do? You can't.
They have been trying faith healing for the better part of 2,000 or more years. And it has never been a good method for anything.
Have you tried it yourself?
It's snake oil bullshit.
But my question to you is, have you ever been open-minded to try anything like it?
Yeah, when I was younger and foolish. I didn't just leave Christianity and suddenly become a skeptic. I went down the rabbit hole. I looked for truth in the supernatural. It doesn't fucking exist.
Okay, I got you, man. Hey, I trust me. I've awakened to a lot of things too. I used to be in the traditional Christianity, and I have a lot of them screaming at me, telling me I'm going to go to hell, that I'm false, and blah blah blah. I know where you're at. I feel you.
Yeah. Eventually, I got past that supernatural nonsense. There's no such thing as a supernatural. At least there's no evidence for supernatural claims. And I bet you my fucking life, I will die on this hill, that you cannot heal people with your hands.
Well,
I will die on that hill.
Well, it would never keep me from stopping from trying, man, because you should never stop trying anything.
I would suggest you stop trying, because one of these days, you might actually get somebody killed, because they're going to come to you rather than going to a doctor.
No, you go to both. You do both, man. I would never say.
So that's how your faith healing works. You're going to rely on modern medicine.
Yeah, because that's where first of all, modern medicine comes from alchemy. Modern medicine, it comes from.
Oh, dude,
it's science altogether.
You do not see that. Oh my
Dude,
fucking God. You
every
cannot
every
possibly be
month.
serious.
Yeah, man. Alchemy is a science, my man. Alchemy is a science.
Alchemy is
and
bullshit.
oh, no, it's not, man.
Yes, it is. Alchemy is fucking bullshit. It's why we left it behind. It is not real. It is not true. It is bullshit.
We're still doing alchemy.
Isaac Newton spent a good chunk of his life trying to prove that alchemy was true, and he never did. Alchemy is bullshit.
That doesn't mean it can't still be proven. We're always learning new things every day.
I'm done. I'm not doing the conspiratorial nonsense and fuckery.
You think you're having an original fucking idea. You're not. For thousands of years, people have been running their fucking face into the wall on that goofy shit. How convenient is it that you could heal a sick person while they're seeking actual fucking medical treatment from a doctor? Fucking Christ. Ellie, whatever your name is, I'm not a true Satanist. What the fuck is a Satanist? And who the fuck are you to dictate what is and is not a Satanist? Yeah, alchemy isn't any more real than astrology is. Fucking nonsense and bullshit. Fucking just insanity. I could walk into a hospital, lay hands on somebody who's receiving medical treatment, and they could be cured because they're receiving medical treatment. For fuck's sake. What the actual fuck? Actual fuck. I know you've waited for hours, Gen X. I'm getting to you, man. I gotta go in order. People are ahead of you. I'm sorry I can't get to you right away. Next, anyway.
Hey, how you doing, man?
How's it going?
I'm hesitant to talk to you, man. That guy pissed you off so bad.
No, I'm not pissed. Not even a little bit.
So relax a little bit. I'm on your side with so many things.
No, I as soon as I'm done with the conversation with one person and I move on, I'm over it.
Cool.
I don't drag that shit into other conversations.
Cool.
That was unfair.
So I agree with a lot of the things you say. I believe that religion has been like indoctrination for many of us. Does that make sense?
Well, I think most Christians in the United States are the result of the indoctrination and emotional abuse.
Say it again.
I would say that most Americans are Christian because of indoctrination and emotional abuse.
I agree. I believe the King James version of the Bible was created to control us, and that they left a lot of shit out. So you're assigned.
I think every form of the Bible was meant to control people.
Right. I do believe that.
The King James is just the most irritating to fucking read.
King James?
Yeah, I made it one chapter into that bitch and gave the fuck up. I hate that goddamn book. It's like crossing Christianity and Shakespeare in this like dyslexic kind of way. It's fucking, I hate that book.
Right. And the council that put the book together in 400 AD decided what books they'd put in and what books they'd put out. And then
they left out the book of Adam, the book of Epoch, the book of Thomas, the book of Judas. It's convenient that they left out a lot of books.
Which was all built off of earlier religion that was in our time. So you were talking about evolution.
Yes, sir.
Earlier. And we had what's the earliest form of man before the missing link?
There is no missing link. Like, that is a huge apologetic that people use. There is no missing link. We've discovered a pretty large chunk of evolution. And if there is a missing fossil, well, there are some extrapolations that are made that doesn't disprove or delegitimize the theory at all.
You're scientific completely, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the
You
most
believe
reliable
anything's
method
possible.
we have for understanding the nature of reality.
Anything's possible, correct?
Um,
We only
within
recognize
reason,
what's been
sure.
proven. So we have to believe in this huge universe of ours that there are aliens, or there could be more dimensions than we know, and that people could live in
Sure.
dimensions beyond us, right?
There could, sure.
Cool. And they could have come down here and found the hominids and decided to manipulate their DNA
No,
to mine gold
I
for
have no
us.
evidence. I have no evidence. This is all pure speculation. There's no evidence to corroborate any of it.
Well, the
Do you know the
evidence would
difference
come.
between the? Do you know the difference between the human species and every other species on Earth?
I've kind of followed it. I'm
Our
not a scientist.
our diet. We cook
diet.
our food.
Right.
That's the single most, I would say, impactful difference between us and other animal species. We found a way to better metabolize our food.
Okay. So what I kind of believe in my faith, and it's not a Christian faith, I believe that aliens came down and modified our DNA to
Based on what
create
evidence?
the hominid to humanoid.
Based on what evidence?
The fossils of the hominids to the advanced portions
It's not.
of human.
No, sorry. We've already tracked
You tell me.
We've already tracked human evolution back, dude. We have a pretty good grasp on
Right,
our.
but there was a jump from hominid to human.
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
There wasn't?
Why do I have to do the research for everybody?
No, I did the research. What I saw is that from hominid to human, there was a big DNA jump, which I think in that time frame in Africa, that we had aliens manipulate our DNA to create
What
a
evidence?
slave.
What evidence? It's a speculation.
Well, just from the actual
We
bodies
evolved from hominid predecessors. Right
Huh?
here, I just Googled it. I got it took 0.6 seconds to get that search history. Overview. Hominids, Homo sapiens, the first modern humans, evolved from their early hominid predecessors between 200 and 300,000 years ago. They developed a capacity for language about 50,000 years ago. The first modern humans began moving outside of Africa starting about 70,000 to 100,000 years ago.
Okay, so I'm gonna. This is where I'm gonna take
you. I just disproved your entire case with a Google search.
No. You just you validated it. Okay, so
no, I didn't.
I was an atheist just like you, and I
did
decided
not validate anything you just said. You are
you
speculating things without evidence.
Well, you haven't given me a chance. Okay.
Okay.
So
provide
what I'm saying is,
that
and
aliens
I
came down
agree
to
with
Earth.
you. I agree with you on so many things. Okay.
No, I want you to provide evidence that aliens involve themselves in human affairs.
Okay. So if you go to the Bible,
I don't give a fuck about the Bible. The Bible is not evidence of jack shit.
Right. But it is. Let me tell you right now, I was an atheist like you. And what I did is I decided to go disprove the Bible. Right?
I can already do that with a Google search, man.
Well, no, you can. You can disprove great parts about it. But the part in the Bible that says, let us create man in our image?
Negative.
Who is us? It's not God. God
The
didn't create
Bible
us.
was fucking
God
written
didn't
inside
create
of
us.
the last 4,000 years. Humans have existed for 300,000 years.
No, it was hominids and prior.
No, humans currently, as we are evolved right now, have existed for between 300 and 200,000 years.
All right, so what created us?
Your book, the Bible, is only, the Old Testament is only about 4,000 years old. The New Testament is only about 2,500 years old.
I'm going to tell you they were all ripped off by earlier generations of fucking humans.
Yeah,
You agree with that, right?
Yes, Christianity is a plagiarism of older Jewish texts, but nowhere in Jewish texts did the God say
Jewish.
Nowhere.
Beyond Jewish, though. They're beyond Jewish. They're,
they're
way
not.
back, like 4,000 or 5,000 BC, right?
No. Oh my God, dude. Seriously, you don't even fundamentally understand how Christianity came to be.
Christianity is bullshit.
Yeah, so is every other religion.
Right. I agree with
you.
So
why are you using the fucking Bible as evidence for a claim that has nothing to do with the Bible?
All right, slow down. I look at the Bible as a historical documentation that has been manipulated.
No, it's not.
Does that make sense?
No.
Well, there's a lot of things that are right with that Bible. There's a lot of things that are wrong. And the Bible has been used to manipulate fucking everybody for control. You tell me I'm wrong.
I want evidence that an alien species involved itself in the evolution of mankind. Give me that evidence.
Let us make man in our form.
That is not evidence. That is your own personal interpretation that literally every single rational person would laugh you off of.
The genetic skip from hominid to humanoid.
There is no genetic skip. There is no genetic skip. Human beings evolved from earlier hominid predecessors. There is no fucking skip.
Dude, relax, man. I'm on your side, dude.
No, you're not. I do not agree with absolutely anything you're fucking saying. You are not on my goddamn side. You are making irrational claims based on bullshit speculation without fucking evidence.
Look at how the hominid went to humanoid. Do you think there was any DNA manipulation there? Because it made a huge jump.
The word hominid is a primate of stop.
Sorry, dude.
The word shut up.
I just said sorry, dude.
The word hominid, definition, noun, zoology, a primate of a family that includes humans and their fossil ancestors, and also at least some of the great apes. You don't even understand what the word fucking hominid means. You're misusing it.
No, it was the pre-form of human.
No,
that
the aliens, the fucking human or the animal we evolved one from was Homo fucking erectus.
Did you see the advancement of humans?
There is no, dude, it didn't work like that.
Well, no, what I'm asking you is, do you think that the advancement of humans from the time right now, just from the 1900s, has been on our own, or do you think that we had help?
Yeah, on our own.
You really
100% on our own. We can trace back our technology to discoveries that we fucking made by observing nature.
So in nature, does that mean we made a microchip because we saw it in nature, or did we see it from
the crash ship? Ran experiments. We did experiments.
on alien technology that crashed on our
Oh, you're
planet.
done. You're fucking done. You're a goddamn conspiracy theorist with fucking
No,
bullshit
no,
in your
dude.
brain.
Fuck again. Oh my God.
Unbelievable. Stop watching Ancient fucking Aliens, man. It's rotting your fucking brain.
Hello.
Hey, Bren. How you doing?
Good. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember me, but I was here, a couple lives back. I'm pretty sure I was on the live that you were banned on, which was kind of, unfortunate.
Yeah. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to say that, last guest was a little, interesting.
If that's the word you want to use, it's not the word I would personally use, but I'm going to try to remain polite at the moment.
It's really fucking stupid.
Yay! He said it, not me.
I just want to say that religion has been it's been twisted. It hasn't. I mean, nobody can say for sure what its true origins, like what its true
We have a
belief
pretty good
is.
grasp. We have a pretty good grasp based on anthropology and archaeology as to the origin of, at the very least, the Christian religion.
Yeah. And I just want to say that I think that in society, religion is ingrained, and it is people are using they're shaming you to feel like you should be agreeing with them and being a
Yeah, it's
part of
emotional manipulation.
it's emotional. Yeah. And I think that they create this narrative that you're going to hell because you made a wrong decision, and that you should pray and you should try and get forgiveness for your sins, which in reality you should try and make up for those mistakes by just making them up like in the real world, like apologizing and actually standing up for your own mistakes. And I think
Well, the
that
thing is,
there's
us. The thing is that us making us making mistakes is not necessarily one. Us making mistakes is not necessarily defined as sin. Me being rude to somebody is not defined as a sin. What Christianity defines as sin is you being a human being and having human desires. That's what's defined as a sin in Christianity. So you
but
can't
the
escape
sins
it.
are flawed.
And that's the point.
A
It's
lot of
again, it's that
people,
emotional manipulation, guilt tripping people.
yeah, a lot of people use the Bible for manipulation and call whatever they disagree with a sin.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that off topic, but I also think that anything related to like anything that's related to magic, or I totally agree that there's other life forms outside of our planet, but not to the level of consciousness as humans. I don't think
I
that
think that there probably is an advanced species someplace. I shy against saying that there isn't. I think that with the universe being 13.8 billion years old, um, that there is very likely some type of advanced species somewhere.
yes, but I don't think that is because that's how we came to be. I don't think that
No,
is.
it's not. It has nothing to do with human evolution.
Yeah. And I think that anything related to magic has it it's it's literally coming from fiction. Like it's fiction. Like if you look
Yep.
into the Dark Ages, it's literally just an excuse to do horrible things to people, right? And magic um magic has never ever been proven to be real at all. It's just it's literally it's just degeneracy leaking into people's views, and I don't agree with that at all.
I agree.
So yes, and I also want to point out the fact that I think I pointed this out in the last life I was in, but schools have also been integrating their religion into those like they've been integrating religion into the schools,
Yeah, you can
like in the
blame
past.
you can blame
It's
parents.
not a thing.
You can blame parents for that. It's
Yes.
parents that are doing it.
Yeah. And there's this whole legal case where one parent saw it to be unfair for other religions and other views.
Yeah,
So for a long time, schools would use religion. They would basically prayer, like it's like the Pledge of Allegiance at the start of the day. And I think that shows that proves a lot of atheist views to be correct, because a lot of religion is being integrated into society and forced down people's throats.
agreed.
So,
Well, I appreciate
and
your insight, my man.
and
Thank you
I
for sharing.
want to learn more. Yeah, I want to learn more about this. It's really interesting, and I might
Well, then
research
do
more about it.
yourself a favor and never stop asking questions.
All right. I'm gonna head out, but
All right.
thank you for listening.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for being a part of the conversation.
All right. Really quick. I need to stretch. Oh my god. Fucking one more goddamn alien conspiracy theory nut job, and my fucking headache is going to just explode out of my forehead. So hopefully, Devil Daddy, listen here, smartass. Hey, okay, fine, nicknames are cool, I guess. I don't know how I feel about being called Daddy though. Like, eh, I don't know how I feel about it. Senpai, Senpai Satan, mommy, ooh, kinky. Devil father, that's well, I guess that removes the kink out of it. If you move from daddy to father, it's kind of a whole different thing, right? Puppy, grandpa, fuck you. What the fuck? Asshole. That wasn't even nice. I'm only 39. You can't make me a grandpa yet. Fuck me, grandpa. What the fuck? let's go to Prince.
Hello, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, full of joy.
Okay, so I fully agree with you. I love what you're doing, but I do have a question.
Shoot.
So a few guests ago, you were talking about how religion is infecting both politics and education in America. So I was just
Yes,
wondering what you think should be done about that. Do you think the mindset of America needs to change, or there needs to be legal action to like get religion
I
out of
think
politics?
I think there's going to be a need to comment. I think there's going to need to be a combination of a lot of things. One of the things that I promote on this platform is people who are secular, whether they're Christian, whether they're atheist, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Jewish, if they're secular in nature, if their beliefs are secular, if they believe in that separation of church and state, they need to be making content. We need a louder voice in this society and in our government to keep religion separate. It's got to start from the grassroots. We need more voices out here saying, yeah, have your faith, but keep it the fuck out of school and keep it the fuck out of politics. And so it's got to start from the people. Right now, the loudest voice in the room are Christians. And so they're the ones, they're holding all the cards. And until we raise enough hell, until we raise our voices loud enough, nothing's going to change and it's just going to get worse. Christianity will absolutely drive this country into the fucking ground. There is no doubt in my mind that religion will do that very thing, as that is what religion has always done. But it's
Alright,
gonna
yeah.
it's gonna start with grassroots movements. It's gonna start with people making content, having the conversation in public, and then it'll go from there to, all right, we're gonna change. Society's got to change a little bit, obviously, and then it's got to be codified into law. The First Amendment, the Establishment Clause, that separation of church and state, needs to be rebuilt. But it starts at the grassroots and it changes socially. That's what I would say.
All right, thank you. I completely agree with that. You're doing great work here. I'm gonna hop off.
Thank
That's
you
all
so
I really
much. I
wanted to
appreciate
say.
it.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Oh.
Oof. Let's go to red. I have had conversations with this individual before. Oh, we're going to have connection issues again. We always have connection issues with the red legs. That's unfortunate. Sam. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the live. So I want everybody to come back in. I'm going to restart the live right now. So everybody that's here, come back into the next live. Ready? Here we go.